This is Believe in Buckeyes with Brian Brownie and Chindy Chekwa. It's Penn State week. We're excited. We're coming off a big win versus Purdue on the road. Chim, hit them with the ass so we can get right to it, man. Let's go.
Football is back, and BetOnline is your number one information source for all your sports wagering info with all the up-to-minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals from the NFL and college football at your fingertips with BetOnline's real-time updates on statistics, news, and odds. From week one all the way to college football playoff and Super Bowl, BetOnline gives you access to the best football promotions and contests available anywhere online. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Remember to use your promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online where the game starts.
Yeah, and if you have any issues with gambling, feel free to reach out to 1-800-GAMBLER. They're 24/7 to help you out with that. But hey, we went on the road. We told the team to watch out. It's tricky playing Purdue on the road. You gotta. They got the message though. They got the message. Ohio State with the huge win over the Boilermakers, 41-7. Maybe possibly could have been considered a track game with it being Penn State week, but no issue for our guys. Yeah, no issues at all.
If it was a trap game, Purdue got stuck in their own trap. And they couldn't get out. They could not get out from the start of the game all the way to the finish. Ryan Day continues his streak over unranked teams. I know it doesn't seem impressive to not lose to an unranked team, but being someone who has been highly ranked and has lost to an unranked team at Purdue, right? It's a good thing not to be one of those coaches that fall victim to one of those types of losses. So
yeah, man. Yeah, you don't want to, like I say, it's a tricky bandwagon, but you don't want to try to, join it. And yeah, he's doing his job so far, staying out of it. But yeah, like I say, this is a good, comfortable day for Ohio State. McCord looked fantastic. He came out early, getting the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. early and often, get some points on the board. And I feel like that just kind of, released the tension. It was bad weather. It was gray, rainy. So getting some points on the board early really, I feel like, helped settle the team. And, we played pretty well from there.
Yeah, it started fast. And that was the big thing coming into the game, right? It was, we start slow every game. And, this game we didn't. And I think part of it was probably the way they called plays. I think on offense, started off spreading things around, throwing the ball. I think we're more comfortable throwing the ball, right? I think if it comes down to what do we do best, even with a quarterback who I don't want to say new quarterback anymore. He's not new anymore. Right? They've beat a top 10 team on the road. They've gotten to the bye week, back in the Big Ten play. At this point, he's a veteran quarterback and a guy who has shown that he can continue to improve every game and get better. I think where this offense is most comfortable is being able to spread things out, throw the ball. And I think that benefits the run. Now, open things up. Purdue didn't know what they wanted to stop. They couldn't stop the pass, right? They trying to stop the pass. They couldn't stop the run. And, it was over before it started really in that first half.
Yeah. Purdue didn't bring much to the table, be frank, this week, right? Like you said, it just, didn't seem, obviously I know they came in with a game plan for the week. Whatever that plan was or whatever they're trying to do to upset Ohio State really didn't go in their favor early or often at all. Our defense was stout once again. Our defense is really just leading this team. If you go out there and don't allow a team to score, I know they only gave up 7. I don't know if they scored in third or fourth quarter. Ton of pressure, 0-0. They kept them to 0 points in the first half. I know Purdue had several shots at field goals that they didn't make, and so that's still a plus to the defense there, right? So the defense really just played well. I feel like they was led up front by Tyleik Williams. He had a big day in the middle of the defense, as he's been having most of the season, but he had a big day. He had a couple pass breakups. He had a couple tackles for loss. And once again, I just felt like Ohio State kind of jumped on them early. They was kind of able to hold that, maintain it. And then, from there, we just kind of blossomed. We played well. Everything went well. And other than, I think Coach Dave got blew up a couple times on the sideline for some penalty stuff. But other than that, it wasn't much to be too concerned about our Buckeyes and their performance.
Yeah, that defense played well. I think you had JTT and Jack Sawyer record a sack in the game. So, we've been asking for pressure from the defensive ends. They showed a little bit of that. Obviously, those tackles played great. Continue to contain and not give up explosive plays. Ohio State is one of the best in the country right now, and not giving up explosive plays it's important because the primary reason why they lost those 2 games at the end of the year was because they gave up explosives. So they continue to do that. They still hasn't really, I guess, shown a big pressure package. He's really been focused on containing the offense. And then when that offense gets to a position where they get closer to the red zone, they're inching closer to the end zone, they kind of hunker down and make sure that they don't allow points up on the board. And I think what he missed, the kicker missed 3 field goals.
3 field goals. Yeah.
At halftime, they had like a random fan come down there and do some type of competition to kick field goal. The fan went 3 for 4. That's just what type of day it was for Purdue. They need to get that guy suited up for the next game.
Yeah.
Sure. But the defense has been playing well, and expect that to carry over into the game this week as well.
Yeah. So, and then also the big thing this week, I think a huge takeaway is, like I said, Ohio State played well overall, pretty dominant performance. But we did have a little controversy, right, in our running back position. And going into the game, our number 1 running back, Henderson, did not suit. It looked like we had reports that he tried to warm up before the game. But once the ball was kicked off, he did not have equipment on, no helmet, no shoulder pads, anything like that nature. It was reported before the game that essentially our let's call it maybe our 3rd back this season, Maya Williams, wasn't going to play due to injury suffered last week. And then Chip was going to basically have the workload. So Chip Tanner was going to have the workload this week. He started off the game. He was playing really well. And then, he kind of takes it was a pretty good hit. All right. He tried to run over three Purdue guys at the same time. Fortunately, he didn't win that battle. And then kind of stumbled off to the sideline. So we're thinking, most likely it's a concussion. No, we don't know. I don't think they kind of put out a report, but it looked like a concussion. And then he was out for the rest of the game. But due to that, we had to play the number 4 guy, a guy that we thought was going to redshirt this year, and Dalen Hayden. He had to come in and play the majority of that game. What did you see out of Dalen?
Yeah, he was impressive. I think his combination of cutting ability, and explosive running and speed is flashes, right? And as soon as he got in there, he got active. And I think, Ohio State has a great problem in that, they have 4, maybe 5 running backs that can come in there and get it done. But they all kind of give something a little bit different, right? If you look at what their primary strength is, they all got a little bit of a different strength. And I think no matter who's back there, I think we have a well positioned. But the question for me is, moving onto this Penn State game, because assuming that everybody's healthy, I don't know. I haven't gotten an update on what Chip's availability is going to be. But do you continue on to give Dalen Hayden those carries, given that there is that possibility of redshirt versus not? And then you most likely have Travion Henderson back, who's another explosive player. So it's going to be interesting how they figure out, who gets the bulk of the carries moving forward. It could be a Notre Dame situation where all 5 backs get to run the ball, and you see that, but we don't run the ball as much as Notre Dame. So
Notre Dame do, yeah. So yeah, I like Hayden. I think Hayden is definitely a very natural running back. I feel like when he has the ball, I think obviously from last year. I think last year he had 300 or 400-yard games. He's just a very capable running back, and coming in this year, I understand maybe trying to redshirt. You have possibly 3 guys that's older that this might be their last year of college football. Obviously, that's to be determined, but it's a chance. So if if they don't really necessarily need me, let those guys play. Then I could maybe come back next year, be the lead guy, and try to see what I could do to kind of get my chance to go on to play at the next level. But obviously, I think Coach Day said after the game, we had them ready, prepared, suited up, obviously, and in case a ball went off, we was going to have to play. And then it's like against Purdue, that ball went off. He had to play, and he played well. So, very, very comfortable with him back there and the things that he could do in the run game. So it's just, like you say, it's a problem, but it's not like a crisis situation, because once again, I think all our backs are capable. It's just, the way they do the injury stuff is just, just really, for a fan, someone that's not in the program, it's just tough to understand, what to expect, right? Because even Travion Henderson doesn't play for the last couple of weeks, and also from about so basically missed 3 weeks. But we don't know what the injury is. Like, did he sprain his ankle? Did he pull his hamstring? Is his shoulder sore? We don't know. Same thing with Maya Williams. We don't know. I think with Emeka, he missed this week as well from the receiver. I think they just kind of said lower body type of injury. So, wherever, that's all you really get. So it's tough to kind of gauge, if you think a guy would be back or not, especially same thing with Chip, with concussion. Sometimes they're a couple of days type of situation. Sometimes it's more. But, he did stay on the sideline during the game, right? So that was promising. And, hold him back in the locker room, stayed on the sideline. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. But, I mean, like I said, I think we got a lot of capable guys there. But I think the most important thing from the game with Purdue when it comes to the running situation is an offensive line play. I feel like they played fantastic. I think it was definitely their best game of the year when it came to just basically just being a dominating force and just really just moving people around and opening up lanes so we could have a successful run in Purdue.
Yeah, it seemed like every guy who ran the ball got 4+ yards. It doesn't matter. You look at the averages across the board. Chip had 4+ yards a carry. Xavier Johnson got in there and had 6, 7, 8 yards a carry. Dallin Hayden did his thing. He had the most touches, and he averaged about 6 or 7 yards a carry. Devin Brown got the ball. Was able to run the ball very, very successfully. I like the
in the red zone.
I like
Right.
the wrinkle. Yeah. But he averaged 4+ yards a carry. So that means the offensive line stealing guys on the edge. It was getting to the second level, getting to the linebackers, and it was getting ahead on the head. They were blocking guys. Like, guys had to be moved for everybody to be able to get that type of production when it came to the run game, which is a good thing, right? Because to me, Purdue is the dress rehearsal for Penn State. And this is your opportunity. We talked about the challenges in the run game. We talked about the issues with the O-line all year. If there's a game where you need to make sure that you're firing on all cylinders, it's the game right before the big game. And I think, they showed us that they're capable. I think the switch to kind of coming out, really throwing the ball and attacking and spreading it out. I mean, it was Purdue. Probably we're going to get those yards regardless. But spreading things out and then out of there because there's a lot of complaints about the types of runs. Stretch to the boundary, toss to the boundary, we shouldn't do it. But they still ran stretch to the boundary. They still ran toss to the boundary. But the only difference, I think, other than playing Purdue, was they spread things out, throwing screens, throwing the ball downfield. Now the defense is on his heels. Now let's go attack them. Let's get these guys on the move. I like the offensive linemen on the move, pulling. They seem very comfortable. They seem like there wasn't as much indecision as to who do I have. And I mean, it looked good. So hopefully that carries over.
Yeah, I mean, I think they displayed well. In general, they was aggressive. They was dominant. I mean, they was in the right position. Like you say, they looked like they know what they was doing, and they was knocking guys around, and that equals successful run. So, I mean, I think the biggest stat that kind of would dictate, how good Saturday was is like, I think it was towards the end of the third quarter, early fourth, before basically the game was just completely out of hand, and we started kind of playing backups, both teams. We was 6 or 7 on third down. And a lot of that was short yardage runs that we just, once again, we did the easy thing. We gave the ball to a back. Whoever was at back, was it one of our running backs, or we was running with Brown in the goal line, and we made it work, had a hat, pushed the guy around. We got the first down. But obviously, we played good, but everything, like you said, is leading up to this week. We have Penn State coming in. I think they're ranked number 6, number 7 in the country, undefeated 6-0 team. They called us for us to scarlet out the shoe. We both got our scarlet on. We're ready to go because we know whenever we play Penn State, period, and definitely when they come to town, is going to be a big game with a lot on the line.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game for sure. Penn State's always a big game. To me, especially in recent years, Penn State almost feels more similar to Ohio State in terms of style of play, in terms of how to recruit. And I think really, these past few years, Ohio State just has had better players across the board. And it's been a a good matchup for Ohio State. But this year, Penn State has been playing good ball. They haven't really gone against a team of this caliber. They had
No.
a game against West Virginia early in the year. That was somewhat of a test. They played really well. The quarterback they have, he played really well. But I like the matchup of Penn State Ohio State. I've always liked it really the past few years. Obviously a tough team, a tough opponent, a capable opponent. Someone who can come into the shoe and beat Ohio State. But just in terms of style of play, more so than a Notre Dame or Michigan, I think Penn State is the style that a Ryan Day coach type team is really most comfortable with playing, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I think we'll beat Penn State now. I think about 6 years in a row. From looking up stuff, I think the last time they beat Ohio State at Ohio State was back in 2011. So that's over 10 plus years now. They during our years they beat us once at home. I think that was the 2008 season. I want to say.
Yep.
Tough loss, but so obviously, I mean, they're a capable bunch. Like I said, but they haven't beat Ohio State in a while, and I know Penn State. I mean, obviously, they circle Ohio State on their schedule, right? If they want to have the season that they want to win the Big Ten, make the playoffs, have a chance of playing for a national title, they have to beat the big boys in the conference, which is Ohio State and Michigan. So they usually get them every year. So this is their week for Ohio State. Coach James Franklin's going to have them ready. He's going to have a wrinkle in the game, and they're going to come out ready to go. So they're led by their quarterback, Drew Ayler. Ayler is he's an Ohio guy from Northeast Ohio. He's so far this season, he has thrown the ball for over 1,200 yards. But I think the most important stat here is that for the season, Drew has no interceptions, no turnovers with the ball. Obviously, we play 6 games. I don't care who your competition is. Like I said, we know they haven't been playing the stiff as a competition, but no interceptions through 6 games is pretty impressive. They have multiple running backs. They have a committee back there, but they average about 200 yards a game. So that's not bad at all. And then they have a really stout defense as well, who's only averaging 8 points so far in the year, giving them 8 points. And they have a +10 in the turnover margin. So right now they're being disruptive. They're getting turnovers, things of that nature. And to me, the biggest difference, if we're looking at our defense, obviously our defense has been playing fantastic, leading our team all year. But the one stat that sticks out to me is that so far in the year, Penn State has 27 sacks and Ohio State only has 10. So what are you seeing from Penn State in your review of them so far about the way they play the game and who they are as a unit?
Yeah, you mentioned those sacks. I think that's kind of the strength of their defense. I think the defensive ends, those guys on the edges are disruptive, speed guys. They can get after the quarterback. I think they like to send a lot of pressure, linebacker pressure, safety. And those guys are also very disruptive players as well. I think that's how they've been able to manufacture a lot of those sacks. I don't think they're as stout at the tackle position, right there in the center of the defense. So I think that's an opportunity. But at the same time, against Ohio State, we haven't really been able to take advantage that much of teams with lesser talent even in that position. So they match up well from that perspective. You can expect they're going to try to get a ton of pressure on Kyle McCord. They're going to send a ton of blitzes. Earlier in the year, we struggled with picking up some of those blitzes. They're going to see that on film, and they're going to try to attack that. So, I think if you compare this year to like the past few years, this is Penn State's best chance of getting Ohio State. In terms of talent, I said, these two teams to me are similar, and then I feel like usually Ohio State's just a better player, so they end up winning. I think this is a time where I still think Ohio State has the better players, but I think where Penn State, their strengths are in the right places, the right areas. So they're gonna be talented. I think offensively, their quarterback. You mentioned turnovers. They're similar to Kyle McCord. Their quarterback hasn't turned the ball over. Only 0 interceptions is super impressive. But I think both teams haven't turned the ball over much. He also doesn't throw the ball downfield a lot, right? Like most of those passes are short, intermediate throws, which he does a real good job of working the pocket, identifying where to go with the ball. But not a lot of pushing the ball downfield. And obviously, our defense has done a great job of not giving them a lot of explosives. So Given that, I think our defense is well positioned to be able to contain that offense for the most part, the way they've been able to contain most offenses up until this point.
Yeah. Yeah, funny enough, it's kind of like, and it's, year after year, right? Like certain things is just kind of, certain teams do certain things with, and the way they recruit, the way they kind of play the style of football. And it's kind of like, it's really classic Penn State, right? When you talk about a defense that's a good defense, right? They don't give a lot of points, but they also are able to get a lot of pressure. Penn State is just known for having good defensive end. When I was in school, they had great defensive end, first round guys coming off the edge, and then essentially with those first round guys, they couldn't get pressure there. They kind of, in certain situations, they knew how to have an extensive blitz package that you just had to be prepared for. And like you say, going to Ohio State, if you're looking at, new people or things that we haven't been doing well, you got those tackle positions. So this is always a huge game for. Ohio State's offensive tackles to kind of go out there and be able to make those plays. I mean, I played a game at Penn State last time when we was in school. We lost at the shoe. I was an offensive tackle, and I had some trouble with one of the defensive ends from Penn State due to like his speed and some of his pass rush moves that he was giving us. So it's like, it's a game that you had to be ready for, especially at that tackle position. And then on top of that, the athleticism that they have on the edge. Once again, you have to be sound in your blitz pickup.
Yeah.
Who are we responsible for? As off the line, we're responsible for this four and this fifth, whoever that fifth is, running back. Who are you responsible? Or do you have a scan? Are you just one-on-one with this guy? If he comes, you take him. If you don't, you run your route. Or if you're on the scan, you have to be sound. At the snap of the ball, is going to go fast. They do this. They run these blitzes all the time. So at the snap, it's going to go quick. They're going to try to confuse you, things of that nature. So you have to be sound in your keys and knowing exactly what your responsibilities are. And we call it keeping your eye on your luggage, right? When you go to the airport, they say keep your eye on your luggage so, you don't get robbed. So that you got to keep your eye on your luggage to make sure you know exactly what your guys or who you're responsible are doing so you can have a chance to be successful against a defense like that. So, I mean, we've been working on it. We've been improving. But this will be a huge test this weekend because – be honest, Penn State is probably going to be the best team in the Big Ten that really challenge you with their the way they could creatively come up with blitz packages. You have to be ready. You have to be prepared for it.
And I think the best part of it is a good thing to watch for because, one, when it comes to our run game, right, we like to do a lot of stuff outside. And, in this particular game, it might be more beneficial to be able to do a little bit more downhill run. And also, because, in Penn State, it seems like the strength. I haven't watched a ton of them, but it seems like the strength of what they can do defensively from a disruption standpoint is on the edges. The other thing is Ohio State's defense. Nose is itching to call some of these blitzes. And our linebackers, honestly, some of our linebackers are better in blitz than they are,
and anything else. That's right.
Else, right? And, at times, a guy like Sonny Styles, instead of, having them matched up against the receiver in the slot, who teams are going to try to attack because it's like, we don't want to attack Denzel Burke. Davidson is holding it down on the other side. Let's attack the guy in the slot. Really, it might be more beneficial just send that guy who's super disruptive in the blitz and let the DBs cover. So I'm interested to see how much Ohio State works in more and more pressure, understanding that, these guys aren't taking a ton of shots downfield. They don't have that burner that Penn State typically has. They just don't have that guy this year. Or at least they
haven't shown that guy. They haven't shown that guy.
So that's the case. And on Penn State side, do you really want to pressure Ohio State when you do have explosive players on the edges? So you got a younger quarterback or a newer quarterback that they may want to get pressure on, but how do you deal with a Marvin Harrison if you bring back? So it's going to be interesting to see how they defensively
what they do.
Yeah, what they do from a pressure standpoint.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, there was a clip that was going around, and obviously we're in the college football, so I'm following the clips, right? Yeah. So it's a clip of Penn State defensive coordinator Manny Diaz. So this is his second year leading the defense at Penn State. And last year it's pretty good, and this year they've been even better on the defensive side of the ball. And he's doing an interview, and they ask him, you got Ohio State coming up. What's your thoughts. And basically, I mean, he didn't give I would say he refrained from giving bulletin board material, but all he did say is like, I have a very strong opinion about Ohio State defense, but I'm going to keep it. I mean, offense. I have a very strong opinion about Ohio State's offense, but I'm going to keep that to myself. So we don't know what that means. But I mean, a guy that we know is strong on the edge, we know is known to bring some pressure. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they kind of go out there with some new blitzes that they haven't showed all season and really try to light Ohio State up and try to force McCord into some bad decisions, make some mistakes to try to get their team to lead in that game.
Yeah. I don't know what that meant, right? I have no clue what it meant, and I guess that was by design. But I really want to get to, what do we want to see in the game? I think from Ohio State perspective, I think doing what we do best, being able to spread it out, throw the ball. As long as we can pick up the blitzes and identify who we need to block in the when it comes to protection, I think there's going to be an opportunity to get some explosives to guys like Marvin Harrison, open things up, and then that's going to actually open up the run. I think defensively, to continue to stay true to who we've been all year. I know they don't throw a lot of passes downfield, but force them to drive the field, force them to be able to put the ball in the end zone. I think if we do those things on offense and get the explosive on offense and minimize the explosive defensively, I think we'll be in a good position to win.
Yeah, and my biggest thing is, once again, defense, do what you do, but offensively, protect the ball, right? Like I said, I know Penn State is going to do some things that we're not. Maybe they get us. They're going to get us on some of these blitzes. They're going to win some of these one-on-one matchups up front. But when they do, don't turn a good play for them to a great play. Protect the ball against, I think, Notre Dame is our biggest game of the year so far, right? We had no turnovers. Same thing here. If we protect the ball, no turnovers, I think we'll be fine. We'll win this game, this big one, in home for Ohio State. But like I said, obviously it's gonna be a tough fall game. I think the defenses on both sides, may have a good day. But I think if we protect that ball, we'll outlast them and we'll come up with the big win.
When you say win, what do you think what's your prediction for the score?
Score? I'm liking 24-13. I like 24-13. I like the way that sounds. Like I say, I think we'll be able to hit on some of those big plays, protect the ball early when they kind of come with the crazy stuff. And I think our defense will have another great day. They keep everything in front of them like Penn State wants to do. Eventually, we'll do that as well, play that ball, and then get off the field as well. So 24-13. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm in the same, but I think we get after them early on offense, and then from there we kind of hold on to it, minimize explosives, and I think it's a tough game for them offensively to get in the end zone. Yeah. But I think eventually late they probably get some rally and get some scores. I would say 27-17. Buckeyes win by 10. Get the big win at home.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's Believe in Buckeyes. This is our show for this week. We're going to start it out the shoe. We're ready to go. And we're going to end this show as we always do with a nice OH.
Ayo.
Go Bucks. Go Bucks.
Perfect.